You know what time it is? It's listening time. Okay, let's talk about inflation. First of all, what is inflation? People might have different definitions of inflation, and people think about this topic in different ways, but I'll just give an overall definition that most people would be happy with, and that is inflation means there is an increase in prices and a fall in purchasing power. What does purchasing power means? It just means that your money buy less stuff. You can't buy as much stuff with the same amount of money that you used to be able to buy. So that's a fall in purchasing power. So that's inflation. And that many of us are struggling right now with inflation in our different countries because over the past couple years we've seen a lot of inflation around the world. So let's talk about some causes of inflation. There are different causes. It's not just one particular thing. There could be certain things that come from the demand side, meaning the consumer who is buying products or services, and there could be causes from the supply side and from the people that are producing these goods and services. Maybe the cost of production has gone up for them and they can't produce as much stuff, or they need to raise prices because of problems with the supply side. So there are a lot of different things that can affect and influence the inflation rate. But let me just talk about maybe the overall idea of what causes inflation. Of course, it isn't necessarily the most detailed explanation, but I think it kind of summarizes everything. So inflation is caused by having more currency units that are chasing goods and services without a greater increase in production of those goods and services. Okay, that may be a little hard for you to understand. Let me explain it to a currency unit just refer to $1 or 1 euro or whatever, right? A currency refers to the different money that we use in different countries, right? So the dollar is a currency, the Europe a currency, etc. So when we have more dollar, for example, in circulation, but we don't have the same increase in the production of goods and services, if there isn't an increase or if there's a decrease or if there's an increase but not enough of an increase, that will result in higher prices. It will result in inflation. Think of a basic example, right? In the years 2020 and 2021, in many places, for example, in the United States, the government gave out a lot of free dollars to people. A lot of people received stimulus check, and there were other form of stimulus that produced more dollars, more of these currency units, right? However, this didn't increase the amount of goods and services that were created, and so we have more dollars, but we didn't necessarily have more goods and services. So People might have felt richer because suddenly they have more money in their bank account. However, when you just increase the money supply, and that simply means that the prices will go up because now there is more money in the system that is chasing the same. So that make the price of these things go up. That's just logic. So that's what happens when you suddenly increase the currencies, and there are more dollars or more euros, and it makes prices go up. And you can increase the amount of currency in the system without price inflation if the production of goods and services increases even more than the increase in the currency. So a good example of this was in the late 1800s in the US, when there was actually an increase in the overall currency, the amount of currency units in the system. However, prices actually went down. How did that happen? Well, it's because there was so much production of goods and services, and that production was even greater than the increase in the money supply. So even though the money supply expanded, prices actually went down because more things were produced. So you can see that there are a lot of factors that at play in terms of the causes of inflation and how inflation happens.